One, two. Yeah, it works now. I have to totally restart the stream from scratch. So, okay. Let's see here. New stream. Okay. We'll wait for people to join back on part 2 of the stream. There's I don't know what happened. It seems to be something crashed in the audio department, and it just didn't come back. I completely lost and whatever I was doing. In Windows, everywhere I could see the levels moving when I was talking, but it just wasn't going to the web. It is so weird. It is so weird how things work. So, anyways, we're talking about all sorts of things, and I hope that you all have used your skills of reading lips to be here. It's so bizarre what happened. And maybe that's why you shouldn't run a live stream from an insider preview in the dev channel in Windows. But something happened weird, and I didn't see it. So I'm going to have to. So, anyways, I did the full 4 hours. Yep. Made a noise and died. That's weird. Yeah, but I don't look on my stuff for Messenger. Everything's turned off on my phone, so I don't get the messages from Messenger or anything. I saw Fastload message because he sent it by text, and my PC shows me text messages. So I noticed when he sent me a text message. When he sent me a text message, I saw it on my screen. And it was like, whoops, okay. Yeah, well, it's usually okay. I have the impression there's a level indicator in Google Chrome, and there are all the indicators that show me my audio level in Windows. In Windows everywhere, it was all okay. But what I noticed is on my audio level in my streaming, my audio level is always at least at 1 bar out of 6 when I look at the streaming. What I noticed is that it was at 0 out of 6, which is not normal. There's always one. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I said some kind of secret message that some guy decided to shut me off. The government's after me. I guess that's the problem. So weird. So apparently I talked for 30 minutes with myself. Anyways, as I was talking, because that's what I'm tuning right now, we were talking about WCBS when I was actually at the stream. That's where being really far in the stream is not always cool. About how we could see usually the digital signals on the waterfall of an SDR. Because I was talking about how so when VT Radio in Vermont talked about WCBS, I was talking on how so many stations cheat in what they say with HD radio. And what happened is that the here in Montreal, an example of that, 2 stations advertise as HD, but they don't give you any details. So 690 CKGM Sports and CJAD 800 all will tell you, they're HD, but they don't give any details. So what happens is that when I got my HD radio for the first time, I tuned 800 and 690 to wonder why it wasn't locking on an HD signal. And it's when I tuned the FM band to see if I had HD stations there, and there are a few on the FM band, that I noticed that 107.3, which is Rouge FM, is HD. And it has HD2, which contains CKGM Sports, and HD3 that has CJ80 800. So my question about 880 WCBS that is so strong here was, are they really HD on the AM signal? Or are they cheating like the stations in Montreal that are actually on the FM band and some FM outlet in HD instead? So that's why I'm curious, because it's WCBS is so strong here. My HD radio stops on a few of the HD signals on US stations. 1080 WTIC. It used to stop on 1210. It stops on 1010 CFRB Toronto. It blinks. It tells me there's an HD signal there. And when the signal gets real strong, it actually locks in for a few seconds. And I can see the call sign. I can even see the name of the shows playing, stuff like that. It's really cool. But on 880, which is one of the strongest signals, and that's what I'm listening to right now, 880's WCBS New York. Tomorrow, back down to a low of 42 tomorrow night, then chillier for Friday, sunshine and clouds, and we'll feel a gusty wind, high 40s. So that's 880 WCBS New York. And I mean, it's really strong. It's right now it's S9 plus 30. And that means it should actually be locking into HD on my HD radio. It never does. It doesn't even blink to tell me there's some HD there. So that's why I'm curious as if they are in HD on the AM band. I'm wondering if they're not in HD on some FM outlet instead. So anyways, glad to be back after 30 minutes of silence. You guys have seen my face, reading my lips, and hopefully you've learned a lot. Nice to have you here. So I'm going to try to not be, and I'm going to actually look at that voice indicator, that voice level a little more often to make sure, because I just want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So, and there's very little things I can do. I tried modifying. I unplugged, replugged the USB device for the audio and the console and stuff. Nothing worked. So anyways, I'm back. So, what else did we miss? Anybody say hello if you weren't there before? What else do we have? So Jeff King in Florida, nice to have you here. Yeah, I know it. Well, the other one that is blank is it didn't go. You know what? That's one of the reasons I thought maybe YouTube actually had a glitch. I restarted the stream on another one, and it actually told me, "Oh, can't find anything to stream here." And I'm like, "What?" That's the first time I see that error message. Can't find anything to stream. So it could have been a YouTube glitch. Totally. Because it was so weird when I started the stream again that it told me, "Oh, there's no, forget it. There's nothing to stream here." I was like, What are you talking about? I'm trying to start a stream live now. So, what could be done to have my attention? Look, I don't see anything. My phone is always switched off. The only thing I see here is a text message directly. So Fastload has my number, so you, of course, text message me. And I saw it pop up on my computer because my Windows computer and my phone are linked. So any text message just pops up on my PC. So I don't know what other way there would be. I would have to leave something else open to, and it's also trying to keep my, because even somebody calls, I won't see it unless my phone is in my face. Everything I don't receive calls. My phone is my phone is just like does zero. You would try to call me because there's an atomic bomb coming over the city. I wouldn't know. I'd be gone. Oh man. Okay. What else do we have? Mike Dovis, nice to have you here. Levin Radios, nice to have you here. Dave Dufault, nice to have you here. Skip, nice to have you here. And 2EI from New Jersey. It's really, well, if my phone rang, I would have seen on Windows that my phone is ringing. That also is, But yeah, I need some kind of Mobile Armor Strike Command has 400 contacts with operators on parks on the air. That's pretty cool. VE2FJG. If I get my ham license, my first contact will probably want to be an HF1. So what I was saying that probably nobody heard is that HF will probably be 90% of what I'm going to do with my ham license. VHF, UHF will be also there in some cases, but it won't be much about maybe having a few people that I know around that I can have direct contacts and stuff. I would probably want more to try to set up for satellite AM radio on VHF, UHF than anything else, honestly. So it's but HF is where I'm focusing. I probably would be more interested in setting up the FT450 I got here, and put a quick dipole in the backyard somehow to make a contact and try to talk to somebody. Joseph, listening from Central Coast of California. Nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Peppa Krampus. Nice to have you on board. The WSNI Homebrew. I'll send in my question again, Joe. Any Amazon wish list we can send you things. And do you think you will do any contesting when you get your ham license? Definitely, contest is something I will probably be interested in. The type of contests that I will be doing will mostly be voice, or maybe like RTTY, Baldo RTTY contests, stuff like that. So this is where I would be. But yes, I would see myself contesting with my ham license from time to time. Some kind of CQ Worldwide SSB contest or whatever. Levin Radios says for the owners of the H501X, bought an aluminum laptop mount, and the radio sits on it well and made the button pushes solid. The wire rest on the back is not strong enough for this awesome radio. Shelly, nice to have you on board. Came in during the great silence. Oh, God. Kathy, nice to have you here. Says, survived the great silence of 2021. Well, at least the good thing is it doesn't happen very often we have a problem on the stream. So, not bad. Terry Cook, nice to have you on board. Terry, KF7BQ in Western Montana. Artist Autocrafter's Kitchen. In the grand scheme of live streams and all of the thousands of hours you've done, there wasn't even a small blip. Yeah, almost never happens. So, you don't think about it because it's just so rock solid almost all the time that you don't look at it much. There's a few things I want to change for the stream in the future that I need to look at seriously, including software I use for streaming. That at the same time would give me maybe a little more indication of how everything is going. I mean, this is tough because the video was going. It's just the audio was not there. So Jason Francis, wonderful to hear you again. John Beckham, glad to hear you again. Victor Coco, happy holidays. Nice to have you here. David, will you live stream your first ham QSO? I'll do something. I'll do something for the QSO. I'll probably if I set up right, I'll do some kind of live show that will demonstrate making contacts on ham radio, and I'll let you guys know in advance. Chris G7VEO. When do you think you'll do your ham test? Well, I just need to find an examiner, so I'll be depending on when I find an examiner and when I can and when he's ready to help me pass the test, and that's it. So I'll be checking that out. Kevin K. Here I come once in a while, and I see low like count. There are 62 people in the house and only 17 likes. We need to support this channel. Please hit the like button. Okay, guys. Oxford Shortwave Log. Nice to have you on board. Been a long time. So I would guess my ham license should be before Christmas, if all goes well. So we'll be absolutely. We will try a QSO, absolutely. M0OXF. Matt, NDK2 in Denver, Colorado. Oscar, you're just as charismatic without audio. It's like, the guy has a live stream, and every week is like that. There's no audio, never. And it's like, I got thousands of views every time for no audio. It'd be kind of interesting to see, it's like, why is it I'm more popular when there's no audio? People don't like me talking. Gary 24 fan, nice to have you here from Northern Maine. Late and missed the great silence everyone's talking about. Man, it's so funny. Thank you, Matt. So, anyways, that's what I was talking about at the time of noticing that something was wrong about the WCBS. Almost wondering if they're not HD on FM rather than some FM outlet, rather than on 880, which was kind of, like the cheating of the AM stations here. Anyways. Oh yeah, absolutely. They spent Paul and Mignon, the other cat, spent the afternoon sleeping on the bed in the bedroom. So she's spending a lot of time here because it's cold now, and she probably notices that it's much more fun to be in the warmth of the house, for sure. T-shirts. I survived a great silence. I like that. So, when did you have your best stream? I got so many people today that nobody could hear my voice. It seems that it was much better. So, anyways, apart from that, at least we did have a good hour, a good solid hour of live show before everything just went out. So next Saturday, I'm planning to be back at the other side with the stream, streaming going on, with the waterfall of my SDR Play RSPDX in the background. The other things I was talking about is because you guys enjoyed the videos, and a lot of you have been looking at all the videos. It's been kind of fun to bring out the good old radios like the Texan PL 680 again, and the PL 600, which was a lot of fun to play with, and it made me realize how the PL 600 just doesn't make the cut today. Man, with the outdoor antenna, SSB is such SSB is so crappy suddenly. It's all wobbly. It's like there's some instability in the oscillator or something. Kind of interesting. So, anyways, this is VE2 Gilles. I need to check if the first three letters of my name would be available. I checked if I checked what was available the other day. I went to the website to see all the call signs that are available. So I don't know. I have to choose wisely and see what could be used. One of the greatest honors and greatest things that would have been fun is have the call letters of my sister. It would have been like some honor of continuing her memory. Because she was Victor Echo 2 Delta Papa Oscar. I believe she lost her license because she didn't renew. She had a moment in the 80s where she was doing ham radio all the time. And when she moved from her home where she lived in Belleuil to Saint Jean Baptiste, where she moved afterwards, she never set up her ham station again. So all the ham that she did, actually, all the hamming that she did was at that house in Belleuil, which I would say was from, I don't know, roughly 1980 up to maybe 1987, 88. And so in that period, she was extremely active. She was on the air all the time. And of course, and Morse code, because she didn't have, because at that time you had to have the privileges to do SSB. She had only Morse privileges. And she, I believe, trying to remember. So, anyways, she hammed and she was in, anyways, whatever the rules back in the 80s, she was in CW all the time. And she, when she moved to St. Jean Baptiste, that's where she never set up the station. She continued paying for the license renewal for a while. I remember, I don't know, maybe we were roughly 1995, 96-ish. She was always, we were talking about shortwave at some point. I was at her house spending a weekend. And I had a shortwave radio with me, and she looked at me and she says, "Oh, man, you're making me think that I need to renew my license. It's due for renewal. And if I don't do it before this date, I'm going to lose my hand license." And so I looked at her and said, "Man, don't lose the hand license. You did all the tests to pass it. It's in, and you should have, you need to keep it." And finally, it never happened. And she lost her call letters somewhere in 95, 96, 97 ish. And so today somebody else has the call letters, but boy, I would have loved to have the call letters and pursue the that would have been a great honor to be Victor Echo 2 Delta Papa Oscar. If anybody has a call book of the 80s, you'll see my sister's name in it, Joanne, with that call letter, VE2DPO. Oh man. But those letters are taken by somebody else. What I hate about what I hate about all the way it works in Canada is that your hand license, I find it okay that you have it for life, but I find it sad that there's no way to have you just say, yeah, I'm still here, and I want to keep my letters, because the fact that you can keep your call letters for 100 until you're 125, there's going to be so many call letters of dead people out there that could have been reused for other people. And I'm sure already there is there is probably a lot of dead hands in that list of call letters that are taken, you know? Oh man. Mike WX50. At least we know what YouTube was like in the silent era. Yeah. What made it complete if it would turn black and white. Me, a silent movie in black and white. All I'll need to do now, I could do that actually in the live show. I could actually go back, and when it actually goes silent, I could put some caption so you guys can read. Can read what I was actually saying. John Beckham, by all means, Joel, I believe that most of us out here really enjoy your shortwave portable reviews, so please keep them up. Oh, I will. Absolutely. So, VE2 GLS. Radio is also more info. 501 playing the memory card, fine tune, moves the ahead folders, and the tuning knob moves a single track ahead. Danny, shortwave and Radio DX. Nice to have you on board. And it's always cool to have you here from the UK. But I would have loved to have those call sign letters. Radio Yankee, nice to have you here. I would have loved to have the letters of my sister. So I don't know. I'm going to check out what's available, and if I find suitable letters that kind of have some kind of feel of 2M that I like. Oh, that would be great, Danny Shortwave. Maybe I should add that track. I can do all of that. Had that track of like that piano music that they play depending on the parts, and it's like, you accelerate depending on how much excitement is there in what's happening. That would be great. Well, it's a shortwave channel, so instead of funny piano music, maybe it could be like all the interval signals of shortwave stations through the silent parts. Man. Zen Pharaohs, name that modulation. What is going on around 2470? There shouldn't be a lot going on there. There could be some Stanag, but I'm going to just check here if I see anything. So there's definitely, check it out, upper sideband. Oh, I see that. That's link 11. If what you're hearing is what I'm hearing, these little pulses of digital data, that's link 11. It's a NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO link 11. It links together all the countries together for the different stations of NATO. So what I hear on, and I could see it in the waterfall actually also, 2470, link 11. This is what it sounds like. And I see the pulses on the waterfall. Kimberly, K6 YYL, nice to have you here. Joseph, here's weird noises on 2470. Avid tea drinker. When I'm not listening to shortwave, I go to the medium wave and listen to stations from the Bay Area and Los Angeles and sometimes San Diego, if I could get in it. Cool. There's always something. Joseph, oh, I see what it is. I have interference on 2170. That's possible. John, in closing tonight's show, just want to let you know that I have learned a lot about the various frequencies and shortwave bands of many stations through your podcast. Thanks. Well, I'm here for that, and that's what I want. What's possible with the carrier, if you do see a carrier, Joseph, one of the things that happens a lot in the 2 megahertz range that we have to be careful, and depending on what receiver we actually use, it's more or less intense. It's the fact that the medium wave band stations can have, in some radios, harmonics that we see up to 2, 3 megahertz. So depending on what radio we use, some of them pop up there. Remember, if you have a station that's real strong, like on 1100 kilohertz, you might actually hear an harmonic on 2200 kilohertz, the second harmonic. So, MDK2 says, I think there ought to be some kind of net when Shell gets his license and goes on HF for the first time, just going to toss that idea out there. Well, we're going to check that out. We're going to do something. Well, I promise I'm going to do something. There's going to be a live feed, and we're going to do something. Well, I'll send out, I'll announce it in advance, and maybe send out a shout out to all the hams that watch me. If you guys want to try to have a contact with me, we'll set up at some frequency, and plus or minus whatever kilohertz, because you never know if somebody's going to be there or not. And we'll try something, and we'll try different bands also. I think that could be a lot of fun. I think a lot of shortwave listeners might have a lot of fun, trying to listen to us and listen to me through the radio at the same time. And that's for sure. And I think a lot of hams could also be interested in seeing me doing ham contacts, because maybe it's going to help out in having some hams, because what I notice is that a lot of hams aren't on the air, and you even see it here. A lot of hams don't even go on, use their ham gear. They just listen, and that's it. So Tahoma says, fully willing to set up Discord server for the community would allow you to communicate, have communication and moderators during streams, and a place for the community to share and contribute. Yeah, there's already been a little something like that with Discord, and I'm not a big fan of too many things. I think what should maybe be the best thing is I should just leave a I could maybe just leave a Facebook Messenger open or something, because many of you can communicate with me on the Facebook Messenger. So if something happens, you guys can just quickly say it, and I'll just leave the messenger open on some device or something. So welcome back, Keegan. Papa Krampus says, yeah, do a live stream ham simulcast for us to copy during the show, and that's your backup in case of audio drop. Oscar, I'm mostly ham by digital, rare on the mic. Like I was saying, because probably maybe my audio was already gone when it happened. I was saying that I will be a guy that will be, don't count on me on being on FT8, because it's a mode that I just doesn't turn me on. I'm not saying that it's a bad mode or anything. It just doesn't turn me on. There's nothing interesting for me in FT8. In just like, I heard you heard me by. That's all. I can't find the fun in there. But I will be the guy of voice. I will be the guy in conversational digital modes. So like, PSK31 or RTTY or something that, I'll be the one that probably will like blout like in a video or something. Say, well, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to be in, Olivia 16500 at that time around that frequency range, and try to have contacts and stuff, and more than just hey, I heard you, you heard me stuff. I'll be the guy that's going to try all sorts of things like that and maybe try to make it more exciting. FT8 has made, and I'm sorry, it's not that I know a lot of you like FT8 for its low signal capabilities and everything. But at the same time, FT8 for me has made the ham radio hobby the most boring hobby in the world. And like I was saying earlier, and if ham radio would be resumed to FT8 only, I would not even bother getting my license. I would not be interested. And ham radio is much more than that. And that's where I find that the problem moving forward with ham radio is that there's not enough diversity. Um, I like the fact that FT8 exists and that people use it. It's fine and it's great, but it's not. There's so much more to ham radio. And for me, DXing something in FT8 is like, yeah, okay, you know, it's too. I don't know. It's too. I'm trying to find the words on how I could resume what I feel of FT8 personally. Um, there's just something missing in the human touch there, which I don't like. But that's FT8. FT8 exists and it's fine. It's not it. I don't want FT8 to go away. And if some hams love FT8 and a lot of hams love FT8, that's fine. That's not where my problem is. Is that as we move on, ham radio is more and more boring, and that needs to change. And to change it, that means you need people that will have exciting ideas and new ways of communicating and modes that we should use that mode. Let's try this and let's try that. There's not enough of that. There's just a bunch of people in FT8, a bunch of other guys that like their other modes, but nothing exciting anymore. Ham radio used to be exciting. And I see exciting stuff happening when I read some of the bulletins that talk about ham radio communications and tests and things going on. But ham radio has become a very boring hobby over time, because not enough people, not because, FT8 exists, mostly because not enough people are keeping the hype up of ham radio and wanting to do something about it. So, Paul, AA1SU, yeah. So that was saying. I was talking to you actually when I saw that the audio was gone. As I was talking about 880 WCBS that was coming in. Actually, I tuned it on AZR. It's coming in real strong here. And I was talking about how I'm wondering if WCBS is doing like what AM stations in Montreal are doing, which is cheating on HD signal. No, if you look at 800 CJAD, it advertises as 800 CJAD HD, 690 kilohertz, the KGM Sports also. But what they just don't mention is that they're HD on an FM sister station. So if you go on AM on 800 or 690, your radio will not lock on to an HD signal. And the reason why is because it's not in HD on AM. But you go to 107.3, and there's Rouge FM, a station that broadcasts music. That one is HD. And then you go to HD2, and it's CKGM Sports, and HD3 is CJAD. So I was wondering if 880 would not be like that. John Beckham, have you... Oops, lost this page here. Have you ever thought of featuring a specific brand model of a shortwave radio once in a while in the podcasts? Well, I tried like recently. I take a lot of older radios out and come back to them and focus. Like I'll focus one day on them, and like yesterday was the DGND level 3, and the PL600. There was a DGND level 3. Today was a PL680. Noticing PL680 is actually a much improved version of the 600. And so I kind of tried to go around. I noticed one thing because I'm trying to have as much fun as possible on, and also have people see and want to watch and have fun with what I post. What I notice is that on the channel, which is the least popular on the channel, is SDR. If I post, for example, going through a frequency range on my SDR Play or SPDX, views are way down compared to if I do the same thing but with a little portable like a Texan PL330. And I take account of that. I know some people still like SDRs, but I take into account the fact that, okay, the most popular are this type of video. So that's what, appeals more to people. So that's why I also take out a lot more um, of my radios, basically. So, we'll depending on what people want to see and how they want to see it and how they want me to focus on the channel with radios. Of course it's a great way to to at least have fun together. I don't want to post a video for posting a video. I want to post a video that will appeal and people will enjoy watching. So yeah, I know, Tahoma, that Discord is a very popular platform, but it's like I said, I'm already involved in too many things together, and I want to stay as focused as possible. We have a Facebook group, and I think we should focus on what's available and what's already there rather than add more layers. But I totally understand what you're saying with the Discord stuff. Dwayne, nice to have you on board from Illinois. Danny Shortwave, remember you talking about getting a U-loop to try out. I've been using one lately, and I have to say I'm very impressed on it for long wave and medium wave. I've even received WWVB 60 kilohertz. Yeah, I need to check that out. It's not very expensive. I should get one of those U-loops. Absolutely. VE2FGJ, we could make contact on 80 meters, only 150 kilometers away. Yep. We could even do a daytime contact on 40. Oscar says, yeah, let's keep the other digital modes alive. My Jam, nice to have you on board. Tahoma, use FTA to check my propagation. I can send and look at the map and see all the stations that heard my signal. Yeah, there's some usefulness. It's like for me, FT8. What I'll do in FT8 is I'll know a band is open by checking the FT8 activity, for example. But that's pretty much it stays pretty much there. Skip, no interest in FT8, even though I know Joe Taylor, CW rules the real digital mode. I was thinking the other day. I was thinking about FT8 and was like, wow, before I do FT8, I'd rather take the time to learn CW. Actually, I want to learn CW. You know why, Skip? Because I noticed that there seems to be a lot of activity on CW actually, and so I am interested in just maybe doing some CW stuff for sure. So FT8 is a digital mode, Mike Jam. It is one of those modes that everybody's always stumbles upon and says, "What's those weird tones and noises I hear? They're so creepy." An example of that is here. I think you're gonna try to. Oops, wrong frequency. So you hear stuff like this. So people hear all these creepy tones and stuff, and they're like, "What the hell's that?" The FT8 is digital mode. It's made for very short contacts. You don't have a conversation on FT8. It's extremely, extremely. It's extremely good for very low signals. I mean, I can see why a lot of people are attracted to it, because with low power and even in harsh conditions, you can still make contacts. FT8 is amazing for its low signal, high noise capabilities. It's just that it doesn't turn me on personally. That's all. That's all. What else do we have? What else do we have? Hey guys, stop talking about Discord, okay? There's not going to be Discord. I'm not interested in Discord, and I won't do Discord. So we talk about something else, okay? I got Facebook group. I've got this going on. I've got the YouTube channel. It's going to stay like that, and that's it. Okay. What else do we have? What do we have? E2. Yeah, that's good. Paul Moffat says CW is here to stay. Simple RF comms is good. It's just, it's like learning a language. So you got to take your time to, listen in. Actually, the idea came the other day that I would probably be interested in CW. And it came also at the same time when I was listening to the WA1W Morse, the W1AW Morse code tests that they or Morse code practice that they do on the different frequencies that I hear all the time. So I thought, yeah, I could practice with the W1AW ARRL stuff at the same time. Could be fun. I even noticed that there's some YouTube videos of CW Morse code stuff. Kind of cool. The Homus has been a ham since the early 90s, shortwave listening since the age of 4. I find ham radio today more active and interesting than it ever has. Sota, Pota, and all the parks on the air and stuff like that. Yeah, satellite, space station. We have come a long way. Yeah, it's diversified in what you can do. It's just, I don't know. The activity is different. There seems to be less. That diversity isn't as active. That's pretty much more what I wanted to do. I'm gonna check it out. It's not expensive. That's gonna be my cheap Christmas gift. Get a U-loop and compare it with the MLA30. So what else do we have? What else do we have? Tahoma says, I would rather RTTY or PSK. At least there, conversation can take place. I am phone CW guy. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'll be too. I'll be a single sideband phone guy. I will be a RTTY conversation guy. One of the digital modes you can talk. That's what attracts me. Maybe because of what I am personally already as a person that like to talk, you know. Um, and maybe that's why FTA doesn't turn me on, because for me there's no conversation. It's just heard you, heard me. Okay, cool, and that's it. You know, Oxford shortwave log worked VKs on 10 watts with FT8. I mean, you know, it's an impressive thing. Absolutely, it's not that it's not impressive in what it can do. I just have no interest. It turns me off totally. Um, I can't have fun on FT8. You know, I would be proud to be a, you know, even though I know it's going to be more difficult, I'll be much more proud to have a VK station from Montreal using voice or using a conversational digital mode than FT8. But I get it also that FT8 attracts a lot of people because, you know, low power, no need for these big gun amplifiers and 1 kilowatt of power. And, you know, one of the problems of, and we see it in contests, um, what are the dominant stations in contests? Well, it's like the dominant stations we hear all the time on the single sideband voice. It's those, you know, kilowatt transmitters from these stations, like, you know, that station in Serbia and, you know, a couple of stations in Spain. And you're like, wow, they're always there, but they're always the ones you hear because they're always the ones that have a kilowatt or more. It's like they're super powerful, you know? Um, so there's a FT8 has this advantage that everybody's kind of equal because everybody uses low power. And the capability of FT8 going through some really high noise and very low signals is astonishing. So I can see why it appeals to some people that like to make contacts. It's, you know, like I said, I'm not bashing FT8. I'm just saying it's uninteresting for me. You know, it's not. There's no conversation, and maybe that's what's turning me off. For me, it's like, yeah, okay, so you contacted South Africa on FT8, so how should I be impressed or not? That's all. It's that's me. You know, if you're happy and you're super impressed with it, and it's like, oh, look at that, I contacted, you know, 18 European stations in 20 minutes. Cool. That be happy, and I don't want to break your fun. It's all right. If you're having fun with that, you're having fun with that. We all have fun with different things. I would be more happy to have a little bit of conversation and a voice contact with 18 European countries in an hour and a half. You know, that for me would be more fun. Or, you know, calling CQ via digital mode like you know, PSK31. Is there anything on 6022? Usually pirate stations around there at this time of day. Well, it's 49 meter band, so 6922 here in North America at least is pretty much mostly mostly the international broadcast band stations that are there on 6020, 6030. I'm just going to lower the volume here. 6.020. So there's nothing here that I could see. There's radio, what I think is Radio Marti on 6030. Radio Vancouver on 6000, real strong. That's what I see here. Oxford shortwave log. All the skill in FT8 is setting up the computer to talk to the radio and routing the audio using virtual audio cable. Yeah. Well, most digital modes are like that. You know? VHF on the moon. I want to talk to the first VHF station on the moon. Paul says Santa came early and left me a Seacrane Wi-Fi 3 internet radio. Cool. Have fun with that. Playing around, you know. MDK2, I never was keen on Discord personally. HF Underground used to use Rocket Chat, and I like that better. Paul says Santa has still promised APL 330. You have to be a good guy. Zen Farrows, I thought the point of FT8 was testing your antenna. Well, it's making contacts. Of course, you're testing your antenna at the same time and testing your setup. That's for sure. You know, that's the interesting stuff here. No, here I have audio at least. So you should have audio, Donald. Well, if you're not hearing me, you won't hear that. John Meckham, I seem to be receiving more tropical stations around 4,000 to 5,000 kilohertz as of late. Yeah, well, wintertime, lower frequencies. Lower frequencies are better in winter in general. So that's possible that you're hearing more stuff there. MDK2 super powerful using Yagis and high gain antennas. That's for sure. That's for sure. Tohama 6 100-foot towers, a barn full of workstations, contest stations dominate. Yeah. Oscar FT8 is good for getting those digital accomplishment certificates done. That's about it, in my opinion. Has a couple other uses, but for everyday ham stuff, not a fan either. Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing here on 6020 right now. Or 6022 as you were mentioning. Not even a little something on the waterfall here. MDK2 made a 10-meter SSB contact during a contest last year with a young girl in Brazil using her dad's equipment. I wonder what kind of antenna they had. 10 meters is a surprising band because 10 meters is one of those bands where low power and very modest equipment, even in SSB voice, is actually capable of doing very long distances. Avid tea drinker, can you please tell me the frequency range of pirate radio? Are they an LSB or USB? So pirate stations in North America are a lot of them are around 6,850 to 7,000 kilohertz. But check the lower parts of 5 and 4 megahertz and even 3. So 4,000 to 4,200, 3,000 to 3,200, 5,000, 5,200. In times of low solar activity and long nights like we have now, a lot of them go lower in frequency. In Europe, upper part of the 80-meter band, which is actually a broadcast band in their IARU region 1. You might hear some in the 3.9, 3,900 to 4,000 kilohertz. There's a lot of Euro pirates there. A lot of Euro pirates around 62 to 63, 6,400 kilohertz also. And a few in the above, 6,900 to 7,000. But I'd say the most popular band is 6,850 to 7,000. But like I said, a lot of lately, a lot of them have been, around like 4085 and 5085 or 51 something. So bottom part of 5, 4, and 3 megahertz is to check out regularly also in North America. The mode that they use, most of them will be in upper sideband, but there are some AM pirates also. Nathan Petrovsky. Would a DSP speaker like the one from BHI be better for reducing local man-made noise, or should I be looking at one of those antenna phasing units? I would believe that a antenna phasing unit probably would work much better in actually reducing local man-made noise than a DSP speaker. DSP speakers will play with the audio To lower noise, you want to try to lower it before it enters your radio. So the phasing units actually work on that. They actually will try to null some of that noise before it gets into the antenna of the radio. So I would say that if one is more, probably works better than the other, the phasing units would probably work better. Matt, FT8, good for checking band openings where your signal is going. Yeah, like we were talking earlier, that could be absolutely a good way of checking it out for sure. For sure. And like we mentioned here a few times also is um the I will quickly look at an FT8 amateur frequency to see if that band is actually open. Because today, one of the things that is for sure is if 10 meters open, then you'll hear FT8 on 28074. If you do, okay, there's possible more activity in the 10-meter band. If a band's quiet, same for 6 meters. 6 meters, I'll go and listen into the FT8 6 meters. And if I hear something on 5313, then okay, 6 meters open. I'll check for other stuff. That's for sure, What else do we have? The cameraman. 11 meter is much better playground. Others out of Crafter's Kitchen. My father used to love 6 meters quiet for a long time, but when open, he'd workstations all over the world on very modest power. It's an amazing band. John Beckham, do today's shortwave stations use less kilowatts with their transmitters than the stations of years ago? There has been a shift towards using a less power on international broadcasts because power is something that you have to understand that unless you increase the power by a lot, the effect on the signal is not that great. When somebody says, I'll use 150 kilowatts instead of 100, don't expect to see much of a difference in the signal. If you use 500 instead of 100, then yeah, okay, you'll see a difference. But because I think high power is a little overrated many times. So back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, a lot of the shortwave stations were often 500 kilowatts. That was kind of a standard power. What happened over time is that stations noticed that it costs a lot of money to run 500 kilowatts all the time. So if the station has to, have 10 shortwave transmitters 24 hours a day for different broadcasts, 10 times 500 kilowatts costs a fortune in electricity. And so in the 90s and early 2000s and today, a lot of stations have noticed that, you turn down that 500 kilowatt to a 250 kilowatt, costs less money, and people still hear us really well. And there has been a trend towards lowering power output of transmitters because they kind of notice, well, you know what? We don't need that much power to really get into our target audience. So some of them do. There's still a lot of 500 kilowatters out there. So China is one of them. But I'd say that the more standard power today, a lot of stations are more on 250 and a lot of them actually are even on 100 kilowatts. And I'm pretty sure that some of them that are advertised as say 250 are not really pumping out 250. They rate their, they will write down that they are using that 250 kilowatts, but I can tell you that some of them I'm sure are much lower than that. One of the first stations I remember talking about power, because in the 80s there was that crazy time when there was a discussion that international broadcasters should use single sideband in the future. because it's going to cost a lot less money, and it's much more efficient to get out there. And at the time, it was a crazy idea because the stability of a lot of receivers was not very good. So single sideband meant, wow, we're going to readjust the voice of our station like all the time. Plus, add the fact that probably a lot of people had receivers that didn't have single sideband, and a lot of them didn't even know how to use single sideband, and it's still today. Why did I make a Degen D1103 video yesterday? Trying to help out because one of the common questions and the common comments I see, never been able to tune properly a single sideband station. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So my examples of yesterday were, let's try to make a real live example on YouTube and explain it at the same time. And that's why I did these videos, and there's going to be more of them. But anyways, in the 80s, that idea was there. And I remember HCJB, when they were on 9745 kilohertz, which was one of their North American frequencies. I remember that in one of their shows where they answered, or they talked about, answered. Don't remember if it was like a mailbag show or anything, but I definitely remember they were talking about their own transmitters and the power used, and they on paper, 9745 was stated to be something like 250 kilowatts out of PFO transmitter side. And I remember that on the show, the guy said, well, on paper, it says 250, but we've been using 125 or 100. And I remember even one of their frequencies, they were saying, we're actually trying 70 kilowatts, 75 kilowatts, nothing more. And they're saying that the results were really good. They were actually noticing that people weren't really complaining that the signal, that the power went down. They were still hearing the station really well. So, to save money, I think some broadcasters are not pumping up as much power. One that I suspect is not pumping out the power they say is Radio Romania also. And Radio Romania has been having transmitter problems. I believe they're still having transmitter problems. Not all of their transmitters are actually working. So if you see 2 or 3 frequencies from Radio Romania at the same time, if you notice that there's only one of them, yeah, propagation could be the cause. But there's also the fact that maybe because they don't have enough transmitters for all the broadcasts, they will be leaving one of the frequencies out and probably trying to pick the one that seems to be the most obvious that's going to make it to the target audience. There's a lot of money in there. There's a lot of money in there, and there's at some point when the budgets get lower, what do you do? Well, let's start by lowering the amount of power we use. That's going to have us save some money and see the result. Are people still hearing us? Oscar's got a phase unit that works up to a point. It can be helpful, but not a miracle worker. I'm waiting for one of the cheap phase units from China to test out. The cameraman says, do you use just power? No. Do they use that amount of power more effectively? Yes. They do use it effectively for sure with their transmitters. Their curtain arrays are made to really, 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 pack a huge, gain in the power output. But I would answer yes. A lot of stations are using less power than they did for saving money. Exactly. Oxford Shortwave Log. There's not that much, of difference. Absolutely. Nathan Petrovsky, is there a reason pirates tend to stick around certain frequency ranges? I've always found kind of weird. Well, actually, it's to, if pirates would pop up randomly anywhere, we would miss a lot of them. Because imagine the frequency range of shortwave. Okay, we've got a large blob of frequencies there. If a pirate starts transmitting on 7905, the chance that somebody will notice that it's there, it's not zero, but it's lower than if they start broadcasting on an actual range that we know about. So it's kind of to put some order and some, make it that you will probably have a bigger chance of being heard. Because by default, and I do that all the time, by default, what will I go and do if I want to see if there's a pirate on, and if I don't look at the web or anything, or like HF Underground? And for those that wonder, hfunderground.com is the best place to go for pirate activity. Lots of information there, and always somebody, posting, and probably some pirates themselves posting, that they're live, they're on a certain frequency. But out of the blue on a frequency, a random frequency, chances of you being heard are kind of small. Out of the blue on one of the known pirate frequency ranges, well, you have more chances of being heard because that's what you want. A pirate wants to be heard. So, that's where we go and check out the frequency ranges. But there's this odd frequency usage from time to time. One of them, Mixed Radio International pirate, they've been on all sorts of frequencies up to the 12, 13 megahertz range. And you're like, wow, okay, that's something. And a lot of the broadcasters also, what happens is that a lot of the pirates use ham gear. And a lot of the ham gear will work better and resonate better near the ham bands. It's not by accident that they keep close to the 40-meter band. They keep close to the 40-meter band because the transmissions of their gear will be more efficient, and probably their standing wave is better near the ham band than if they go really far from a ham band. It's something we don't think about, but even if you unlock some of those radios that could transmit everywhere, they're still optimized to broadcast on specific ranges, not outside of them. So they were optimized to use and be close to the ham band or in the ham band in general. So that could also be something to think about. That's why a lot of them keep close to ham bands. That's why a lot of them, if they're not on 6850 to 74 to 7000, sorry, they'll be above 4 megahertz, just above 80 meters. Kind of easier on the antennas and on the possibilities sometimes. There was a Artist Out of Crafter's Kitchen saying Alan Wiener is definitely not running 500 kilowatts. There was a Ask WWCR show a few months ago. They were talking how they were heard in Europe on, I think it was 4840 and also 15825. And the power, I remember they mentioned the power used, and it wasn't that high. It was not what they say it is. And they were mentioning how they were amazed of being heard so well in different parts of the world. Avid tea drinker. All the shortwave broadcasts I get now come from USA, Cuba, Latin America, and Brazil. It's not like the good old days anymore where you heard stuff from all over the world. Well, you can still hear stuff from over the world. It's just that there's a lot of countries that left. But also, we got to remember one thing, and it's the fact that a lot of them are not targeting us. Because you could hear Vatican radio. I hear in one afternoon when I decide that I really want to listen to, for example, at this time of year, I will hear Vatican radio, Radio France. I will hear, and I'm talking just the stations that come from, overseas transmitter sites. I will hear many of the relays coming out of Madagascar, VOA from Sao Tome, from Botswana. I will hear the BBC coming over the Ascension Islands, or maybe Wolverton, UK. Voice of Turkey, Radio Romania, that are coming from their countries. I mean, it's not that there's zero stuff from outside of North America. But what is the problem there is that they might be using their power. The biggest problem is that they're not pumping that power towards our target area. They're sending it away from us. They're sending it in Africa. So we're not the prime target. We're on the fringe of the signal. It's a lot weaker. I mean, that Madagascar relay is pumping out power. Because I can tell you one thing. The Madagascar relay is probably, if there would be some international radio Madagascar in English and French, man, we would hear that like, local here. I mean, how many broadcasts from Madagascar have such a strong signal in North America? Look at the African Pathways stations. They're broadcast to Africa. I mean, that thing is local here. It's like the easiest thing to listen to. So we have to be careful when we say, well, propagation wasn't good, all stations are weak. Listen to that Madagascar station. If it pumps like really strong and everything else is weak, it's just because everything else is broadcasting away from you. Plus, add the noise for your local noise, and it's it's crazy. That Madagascar relay is crazy good. Plus, we're placed in a good direction. North America is in the direction of their African broadcasts. Madagascar transmits to West Africa. It's transmitting to North America. If it chooses the frequency, that'll make it all the way. We're a target area without them wanting us to be a target audience. It's crazy. I hear Radio Japan so well from the Madagascar relay. It's the best signal of all. I hear them from their France transmitter site. I hear them from they use the Austria relay. Austria relay is a good one when they use the Austria relay for Western Europe, for example, and stuff like that. Those signals come into North America with a decent power. Actually, I can tell you. Keegan has CHU 3330 and WWV 5000. John Beckham, Tanks Power of Transmitters was very informative indeed. We have Mike WDX50, Radio Luxembourg was only 50 kilowatts on 6090 back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. And it was one of my favorites, but the signal wasn't very strong. And Radio Luxembourg, one of the thing of Radio Luxembourg was also the fact that it was mostly omnidirectional. That's also something we got to take into account. Some of the stations that we heard on shortwave back in the day, a great example of one station that is like that, CFRX in Toronto. CFRX uses a vertical. And so it's, I don't know if they've actually made it so that signal gets a little more through the north, because that's where they want to transmit, towards the north of Ontario. But let's say that it's a simple not, a simple vertical, non-directional. You've got to also understand that any station that uses whatever power and uses a non-directional antenna, you're radiating all around. So you have some loss there because it's sent everywhere equally. A lot of the shortwave broadcasters, what they do is they actually broadcast with those curtain array antennas that pump out the power and direct it as much as possible towards an area, and that helps a lot. So you can have 50 kilowatts on a curtain array that sends that signal to your location, and you'll hear it really well. But Radio Luxembourg was one of those stations, I believe, that did not have a curtain array or anything. It was more like 50 kilowatts into some kind of vertical antenna of some sort to be kind of equally heard around where they want to be. So it was not directing a signal towards North America, for example, making it much more difficult, of course, to hear. Oxford Shortwave Log says if you actually notice a signal strength reduction from Radio Romania International, then they will have reduced their transmitter power a lot. I believe they do that a lot, and I believe they do that for two reasons. One is saving money. Two, for um, for the saving the transmitters a little bit. David, KJ4CMY, the Radio Luxembourg on 6090 is not 1.2 million watts. That was more like 50 kilowatts, like Mike says. But there are some stations, mostly in medium wave. I didn't read it well. Yeah, the medium wave transmitter and the long wave. It's like what is Algeria? Which station is like a million watts on long wave? Algeria. Oh, man, this is crazy. Farney Jr., nice to have you here. John Beckham, Radio Moscow, if I'm not mistaken, was the loudest sounding station on my shortwave radio back in the day. Well, they used, it was not complicated. Radio Moscow did use that 500 kilowatts on everything. And he used 500 kilowatts on all the jammers. Imagine the millions of dollars they spent. I remember once reading about it and reading that overall over the Cold War time of broadcasting, they spent billions and billions of dollars. And not just broadcasting, but even the jamming cost them billions of dollars. They were spending money in there like crazy. Zenfaros, Radio Romania 5910, quite clear at the moment. 5990, about the same. 7410, even stronger. 7420 missing. So the higher frequencies missing could be a sign of lower maximum usable frequency at this time. I can tell you that. So let's check it out here. 59. I was listening to that one the other day. 5910 was coming in quite well. I don't know if they're gone now. Maybe it was a little just before the solitary radio listener. Nice to have you here from Southern Illinois. Yeah, and for a while in the 90s, Brian 485 says, and for a while they were just above 40 meters. Absolutely. Now they're mostly just below 40 meters. Take care, VT Radio. Nice to have you on board as usual. Al, have you been hearing WBCQ lately? Not hearing in Massachusetts. Yeah, I heard pretty much all of their frequencies. 4790, 6160. 9330 has been there. I think I heard it yesterday or the day before. 7490 also. So it's mostly propagation, not making it where you are. Hey, Brent, take care. 73. Stay safe. Zenfaros hotball burst at 7655, 7675 just now. Solitary radio listener. Well, Solar radio listener with WBCQ playing flat earth crap. Funny they use medium wave that requires the earth to be round to work. Well, It's the way it is. Our JDA Dakota has found some just above 80 meter band. XFM has been found on 4085. Yeah, the other day was there. There's a few stations there. There's a few stations. The lowest I've heard, there was one on something like 3200 or something like that. That one is less used, but 4085 and around there, 4075, 4065, 4060 is a popular parrot station frequency lately. So, for sure that shortwave not being what it is like in the good old days, a lot of us are missing out. Are missing. We do have our funny our stations that are missing that we would like to have back for sure in the good old days. That's for sure. Anyone else with a strong carrier on 15675? No broadcasts. Is it just stable or does it fade in and out like a shortwave signal? That's something to check out. Every time you see some signal on an oddball frequency you're wondering, first thing to do is to check if you have something that fades in and out or not. That is interesting. Wow, I'm hearing, is that Radio New Zealand on 15720? I have a station on 15720. It's not very strong. Are they using 15720 tonight? I'm surprised. In December, hearing 15720 is a very, very unusual occurrence for Radio New Zealand. Could be of the higher SolarFlex. SolarFlex was around 90, 95 today. 15720. Are they using it now? 120. Yep, 0-0658. Radio New Zealand. Wow, I'm hearing Radio New Zealand. Not very strong, but it's there on 15720 at this time. This is crazy. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard Radio New Zealand on that frequency in December. Crazy. Yeah, there's some websites. The best intervalsignals.net is great for pretty much any interval signal that existed, and YouTube has a lot of videos of that. John Hummel Newell, VE5JHN. Yep, that 9330 flatter WBCQ station from Monticello, Maine is still there. Absolutely. Scott Belcher needs to get his hand license soon. Cool. So what else? If it's stable and doesn't have any fade in or out, Dave, it's either a birdie from your radio internally, or it's some device around you that's creating that carrier. Because if it would be a shortwave station, it would fade in and out like a shortwave station. MDK2, 15720, Radio New Zealand. Dave, yeah, aired New Zealand 15720 last night. Pretty crazy. It's not strong enough to really, easily follow. If I would live in a low noise environment, I would probably be capable. It goes up to about S9 here, but it's just above the noise floor. WSI and Obro hearing 15720 in Virginia. Can't copy the words though. Yeah, it's like here. It's there, definitely, but it's just too noisy to make out. So crazy. John Beckham 15720 coming in weak on his Seward on R108 in Northeast Florida. Cool. So man, I think it's one of the first times I hear New Zealand on 15720 in December. Usually this is a summer thing. So SolarFlex is probably just high enough to give us a high frequency there from New Zealand. So, hey guys, we've been on for more than 3 hours. Of that, 30 minutes were um, silence. Hope you enjoyed the show today. I'm going to take off because I have to absolutely finish my utility column for the messenger tonight and send it in to Sheldon. So I still have maybe a page or two to actually add before. So I want to thank everybody for being here as usual. Hope you enjoyed the show. And hopefully, we're going to have more fun this coming Saturday at 20 hours Universal Time. Solitary radio listener, I have a noise phasing unit coming from China. So a cheap one from China, just I wanted to test. It just says that it's somewhere in the ocean on a boat, probably. So eventually, when I get it, of course, I'm going to talk about it and make videos. So take care, everybody. Stay safe. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We'll be back Saturday at 20 hours Universal Time. And this is fun to be here all the time. I have a teaching group picked up Radio Free Asia from Tinian. Found out it was in the Mariana Islands. So yeah, it's always exciting. Always exciting. So Grateful Dev. Well, just remember that my live shows are on Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 0 hours UTC Thursday. And Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours UTC. 3 p.m. Eastern, sorry, 20 hours UTC. So 7 p.m. Eastern or 4 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Saturday. That's 0 hours UTC. Technically Thursday. And will be 20 hours UTC this coming Saturday. We have a Facebook group, which is the official SWL channel. Also, just before everybody leaves, I want to share that we have me and Sheldon Harvey. We are co-hosts of a show called The International Radio Report, which is a show about radio. So you can get us at youtube.com/international radio report on YouTube. This is going to International Radio Report. Let me just get it out here. I'll post a link in the chat. We have a 30-minute show. It airs on CKUT 90.3 FM out of Montreal every Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. That's 15:30 UTC. Go check out our shows there. It is a great place. We have 30 minutes of radio news from local and international news. And why not join and follow us there if you want to get the latest news and what's happening in the world of radio. We're always happy to have that. We're going to have from time to time some special shows. We're looking at making a special show for Christmas that will be on the channel. So just follow us there and like our videos and of course you can stream the show from CKUT 90.3 FM directly on Sunday morning. And you can of course subscribe if you like what you hear. So take care, everybody. Stay safe. And, Sheldon, I'll be sending you my utility column sometime before bed tonight. So that means before 1 a.m. you should have my column. I was just missing a few things. I worked on it last night, but I kind of noticed that some of the stuff that is in it needed a little more work in order to be satisfying for me. So you'll get that later tonight. Take care, everybody. And of course, what we're talking here also is something else. It's the Messenger, which is a bulletin that comes out every month. from the Canadian International DX Club, CIDX. And you can have a sample copy if you've never asked for one. CIDX Club at yahoo.com. Don't ask for one if you already did, because Sheldon knows you did. CIDX Club at yahoo.com is where you get the messenger sample copy. We'll be happy to send it to you. If you like it, you can, of course, join the club. It might say Canadian International DX Club, but it also says international in it. There's articles about all aspects of radio. I am the guy behind the utility column, and there's lots of info in that bulletin. It's a PDF electronic bulletin that you get in your email. $10 to join for a year, 25 for 3 years. It's really not expensive, and you get a very nice little bulletin. The December edition should be ready within within the week, since Sheldon needs to get it out before the weekend, or a little later. So it should be out in the next few days. There, we've done the promotion of everything. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. See you Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours UTC. Bye-bye.